Filling small cylinders. Before you begin the process of filling small cylinders, make sure that the dispenser is properly prepared and that the cylinder is safe to fill. This module gives you the basic information needed to fill small propane cylinders. However, before you begin the filling process, you need to make sure that you view the first 4 modules of this program. These 4 modules will provide you a better understanding of how to safely handle and transfer liquid propane, provide you information about the dispensing equipment, various cylinder components, required cylinder markings, pre-fill visual inspection and requalification requirements, purging cylinders, as well as labeling, loading, and transporting cylinders. You have not completed the necessary training to fill small propane cylinders unless you complete modules 1 through 4 first. Filling cylinders. Before filling a cylinder, make sure you are aware of the following information regarding safety and handling procedures, and be sure to check with your supervisor for any exceptions. Know your facility's fire prevention and emergency evacuation plans, including where and how to operate emergency shutdown and pump controls. Please note that there are different types of emergency shutdown systems. Be sure you know how to operate the emergency shutdown system at your facility. Locate the nearest fire extinguishers and make sure they are in proper working condition. Know how to use the fire extinguishers according to your company policies. Only use fire extinguishers to create an escape route, not to fight a propane fire. The only safe way to extinguish a propane fire is by stopping the flow of propane. Before operating a filling station, ensure there are no ignition sources within 25 feet of the points of transfer, or metalworking operations, including grinding, oxygen fuel gas cutting, brazing, soldering, or welding, within 35 feet. Pre-filling procedures. Before starting the cylinder filling operation, follow these steps to ensure the safety of you, your customers, and fellow employees. Do not allow unauthorized people in the filling area. Open the secured filling area and inspect the cylinder filling station equipment. Remove the hose from its secure storage location. If the location isn't weather protected, remove the dust cap or plug from the hose filling adapter. Open the appropriate liquid outlet and bypass return valves on the storage tank. Verify the cylinder you are preparing to fill is a propane cylinder by reviewing the cylinder design code specification markings on the cylinder. Verify the cylinder is not out of date by checking the date code on the cylinder. Inspect the cylinder to be sure it's not damaged or leaking and is safe to fill. If the cylinder is new and has not been vacuum purged, or if it is a cylinder that has been open to the atmosphere, it will need to be properly purged before filling. If you find any defects that would prevent you from filling a cylinder, it should be marked and set aside in a designated safe area. Contact your propane supplier for assistance. Please remember that a trained operator must be present during the entire filling procedure. Always put on appropriate personal protective equipment before filling cylinders. Filling portable cylinders by weight. When filling portable cylinders by weight, it's important to note that the steps involved may vary depending on the type of equipment installed at the facility. The OPD should never be used for determining if a cylinder is full. It will not always stop the flow of propane into the cylinder at the proper fill amount. Always consult your supervisor or propane supplier for more information. Before beginning the filling process, make sure the platform scale is clear of all debris and obstructions. In addition, platform scales require periodic maintenance and should be checked for accuracy. To fill cylinders by weight, make sure all cylinder valves are closed. Follow these steps to determine the total filled weight of a cylinder. Check the water capacity and tare weight stamped on the cylinder or its protective collar. Determine propane capacity by using the following formula. Water capacity in pounds times 0.42 equals propane capacity in pounds. Add the tare weight and propane capacity together to determine the total filled weight of the cylinder. Next, add the hose and fitting weight to the total filled weight of the cylinder. This is the scale set point. Set the platform scale to the set point. Make sure the scale is level and no obstructions interfere with proper operation. Always be present and pay close attention during the entire filling operation. Place the cylinder on the scale. Select the proper hose end adapter to fit the cylinder valve. Remove the protective cap or plug from the valve. Connect to the cylinder. Start the pump. If through a filler valve, slowly open the hose end valve. If through a service valve, open the hose end valve, then slowly open the cylinder service valve. When target weight is reached, close the hose end valve. Shut off the pump. Make sure the service valve is closed. Loosen the connection and wait for any trapped liquid to bleed off. When trapped liquid is vented, disconnect the hose end fitting. Verify the filled weight as required by regulations. Use an approved method, such as a non-corrosive leak detector solution, to check for leaks. Reinstall appropriate valve caps and plugs. If the cylinder has a filler valve, reinstall the cap. If the cylinder has a POL service valve, reinstall the valve plug. Replace any caps and plugs that are missing. Apply any required DOT and/or OSHA labels and a cylinder warning label if the manufacturer's label is not legible or you removed a paper or plastic sleeve. Filling cylinders by volume. Before filling cylinders by volume, open and close the vent valve on the fixed maximum liquid level gauge to be sure vapor vents. If no vapor escapes, the valve may be blocked and must be reopened before the gauge will operate properly. Do not attempt to fill a cylinder by volume if the fixed maximum liquid level gauge is damaged or inoperable. The OPD should never be used for determining if a cylinder is full. It will not always stop the flow of propane into the cylinder at the proper fill amount. To fill cylinders by volume, make sure all cylinder valves are closed. Select the proper hose end adapter to fit the filler valve or service valve. Remove the protective cap or plug from the valve. Connect the cylinder. Open the vent valve on the fixed maximum liquid level gauge. If a white mist appears when the gauge is opened, stop. The cylinder is already full. Start the pump. If through a filler valve, slowly open the hose end valve. If through a service valve, open the hose end valve and then slowly open the cylinder service valve. When a white mist begins to escape from the fixed maximum liquid level gauge, immediately close the hose end valve. Close the vent valve on the fixed maximum liquid level gauge. Failure to shut off the propane promptly will result in an overfilled cylinder. Overfilling a cylinder can create a hazardous condition. Shut off the pump. Make sure the cylinder service valve is closed. Loosen the connection and wait for any trapped liquid to bleed off. When trapped liquid has vented, disconnect the hose end fitting. Use an approved method, such as a non-corrosive leak detector solution, to check for leaks. Reinstall appropriate valve caps and plugs. If the cylinder has a filler valve, reinstall the cap. If the cylinder has a POL service valve, reinstall the valve plug. Replace any caps and plugs that are missing. Apply any required DOT and/or OSHA labels and a cylinder warning label if the manufacturer's label is not legible or you removed a paper or plastic sleeve. Post-filling procedures. After the cylinder filling operation has been completed, or any time the filling station is unattended, close the valves at the storage tank. Store the hose on a rack inside a fence-protected area, inside the dispenser cabinet, or secured to a supporting structure inside the filling room. If the location isn't weather-protected, install a dust cap or plug into the hose end filling adapter. Secure the installation against tampering or unauthorized use. Prior to returning the cylinder to the customer, be sure it is properly prepared for transportation. Refer to Module 4 for additional loading and transportation requirements.